All right, so 105. This is critical thinking. My name is Dr. Grupp. A little bit about me. I'm from Ann Arbor. Well, I mean, that's where I live. I'm from Kalamazoo, originally, and then all over, and then back here. Married, 3 kids. That's good. I've got a son who's 1, who I just left. He's going, Dad, 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 Dad. I'm like, oh, man. Chloe is 5. She's a fun one. And Amelia is 7. She's all in 10th. Yeah, people always have an opinion, like, he's going to have a lot of mothers or a great life. I go with the second. And I like to read, watch movies. All right, so that's enough about me. There's really nothing interesting. I'm just kind of a stay-at-home guy. You know, it's a beautiful day, I think I'll stay in. That's my motto. Okay, so critical thinking. This is probably, I would say, the most important class you'll ever take. I know everybody says that. Everybody thinks their class is the most important one, but this is real. This is really the most important one this time. I should probably tell her about school and everything, huh? Is that a big care? Yeah? No? Okay. I was in school for 50 years, so it'll take a while. I went to North Elementary, no, I'm just kidding. Undergraduate at U of New Mexico in anthropology and philosophy. Master's degree in philosophy from Western Michigan. And I did PhD work at Purdue, but I haven't finished my dissertation yet. And I don't really want to, if you want the truth. That was in philosophy, specifically in Buddhism and quantum physics, the mixture of those two, and metaphysics.
How do you mix them?
Yeah. I don't know. No, I'm just kidding. Well, there's a group of Buddhists from 200 AD to 700 AD in India who said that nirvana, I mean, know what that is? Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, kind of. It's like a state of mind kind of heaven. They said that what nirvana is a set of points of energy that's everywhere. And the way they described it, very peculiarly, is almost exactly the way modern scientists describe the little basic building blocks that make up everything. Here you go. Just kidding. This is a joke. I was saying there, but I was kidding. Oh, okay. I was kidding, but hey, whatever you want to do. Number 40. This is good. Oh, no, actually, it's number 30. Don't knock that door over. If you did, nobody's going to throw you in jail or anything else. Hey, good idea. Maybe it's a little over. Everything you look at the back of your head is so after the front. There you go. So the way they describe it, they kind of describe it as a sea of energy points everywhere. And it's almost, because the basic building blocks that make up everything are real specific. And quantum physics is what that's called. And for some reason, Buddhists in India were able to describe the energy points that make up everything everywhere exactly the same way, with all the weird characteristics. So there's a theory out there, started by me, well, I bet some other people have thought of it, just didn't publish it though, that nirvana, according to them, is the same thing. They just were discovering the basic building blocks that make up everything with their mind somehow, rather than with, super colliders and stuff like that. So to answer your question, that's, yeah, it's pretty interesting. I like it. Buddhism's good. Yeah. Okay, so critical thinking is a big deal because none of you know how to think. Okay? I know it's really mean to say, but think about it. How many of you have ever taken a year of your life and said, okay, I want to learn how to think? Probably nobody. Okay? Well, if that's the case, then your thinking skills have not been, you've never made an attempt to polish them in any way. And if you haven't, then it's a good chance that they're unpolished. Okay, so it's kind of like if you go take a Christian, for example, just your average, say your grandmother, every Sunday she's in church, first person praying, awesome, whatever. But she probably has a very unpolished view of Christianity. Fine, no problem, whatever. I mean, most people do. Not saying I'm an expert on that. Doesn't really matter to me that much. But the point is, she's probably listened to ministers and read parts of the Bible, but never gone into it any more than that. Okay. She's probably got a pretty good education. But think if she were to go to theology school and learn she'd learn all kinds of things about Christianity she's never thought of before. Okay, so in the first pick, the grandmother before theology school has an unpolished view of Christianity. After has a more polished view of Christianity. So that's what it takes to learn about things. Humans are not very smart creatures. Okay, I know that you're told you're smart, and you're so much smarter than chimpanzees, and we're really smart because we can build all our bombs and warplanes and TVs and everything. And maybe I'm wrong. But I view humans as not knowing very much about anything. Okay? And the field that I work in, philosophy, you have philosophers who write whole 500-page books on what the definition of life is, okay? So, and then you get to the end of the book, and you realize that it was all just a bunch of theories, and nobody really knows what the definition of this word is. Then you go to your biology class, and they'll be scratching their heads too what the definition of life is. Is it metabolism? Well, it doesn't really work. It's computer viruses metabolize, and is it like Aristotle said, it's the ability for a creature to move by itself, but robots and cars and stuff can do that. Like a car that's got a certain gadget in it where you don't need a person to touch the pedal. So the point is that that's pretty shocking. Another thing that humans can't define is consciousness. It's the very thing that you've lived your whole life through since you were a fetus, and you can't even define it in one sentence. You can say, oh, it's my thought. And then I can say, okay, that's just a synonym. What consciousness is thoughts and feelings and those visualizations you get in your head. So tell me what those are, and you won't be able to do it. Okay? So point is humans are not as smart as they think. Okay? I know we've got the view of human history is, here's the silly butt-sniffing monkeys, and here are the humans with the bombs and the warplanes. And it goes like this. This is the scale of intelligence. Okay? So I know that's what if you think this is true, awesome. I'm not going to try to change your mind. I just happen to disagree with it. I think that humans are, something like that. And there's a lot of reasons for that. And you'll see that this semester, probably the main reason is because people don't have this. I always thought it'd be funny if I had a typo or something right here, like the big, like I switched these around or something. Anyway, not very funny. Humans, okay, what's the evidence to say that humans aren't very smart? Here's one. We supposedly just finished this war in Iraq, which lasted, years and years and years. How much evidence was there presented to your consciousness, to your mind, that the nation of Iraq was a threat? Evidence. I'm not talking about, I heard Wolf Blitzer on MSNBC say something, or I heard George W. Bush say something. I don't know. Is there any seats anywhere? It's crazy.
I can scoot over and share my chair with me.
That'd be cool. The answer is 0. You never saw any. But nevertheless, we Americans participated in it, sent our kids over to a war for almost a decade, and all kinds of people died. It brought the nation's economy into whatever it is doing now, and so forth. And everybody just kind of said, wait, whatever, no problem. That would be evidence for humans not being very intelligent. Now, yes, you were kind of tricked into it, okay? It's not that you're all stupid, and a lot of you can see this going on. But that's just not a very intelligent process, that whole thing. And now we're in another war with Obama, who's the anti-war president. Now we're in another one in Afghanistan. Was kind of wondering what exactly is going on there. So maybe some of you are for the wars. That's cool. Whatever, go. But I'm just trying to use this as an illustration where the principal point is that humans dove into a life and death situation, which was very detrimental economically, just because some guy in Texas, George W. Bush Jr., said you should go to war. That's an example of, this kind of intelligence. And see, primates and monkeys don't even do that. They have wars, but they're little wars. These 5 monkeys over here beat the hell out of this one monkey over there. Anybody read Jane Goodall Through a Window? She describes it in her book there, and other people do too. So now also, like a more close to home example. Now think about like the last time you got in a fight with your girlfriend or your boyfriend. You're like, that person thinking, what are they doing? I can't believe it. And then you're both just yelling at each other, blah, 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 and you're like thinking, as you're yelling, another part of your mind is thinking, what are we doing? This is completely pointless. Nobody knows what's going on. We're both arguing about, I want her to understand my point. She's got to understand. She wants me to understand her. We can't see eye to eye on simple issues. That may be another sign of low intelligence. So the point is that you've been told that humans are way up here, but if you go and try to find the examples that show that humans are so smart, not many. We've got bombs and cars. That's impressive. Maybe, aliens out there might think it's very unimpressive compared to their warp drive spacecraft or something. But, it's more impressive than the monkeys do. Their technology is, they put a stick in I just looked in that thing, so like my whole field of vision is a bubble. Hopefully I won't smash into something. They put a stick into a hole and the ants climb up and they eat the ants. So we think we're very smart because we've got better technology than that. Okay, so that always kind of reminds me of that, hey dude, the stoner saying, hey dude, I didn't get an F, I got a D or something. So following that logic there. Anyway, I don't think many of you did, but it should work. So critical thinking is a way for all of you to polish your consciousness, okay? Why is this important? Because your consciousness is your tool in life that you need to survive as best as you can. That's why all of you are here. Because you all want to make a lot of money, you all want to get good jobs, you all want to have a good life. Okay, well, you don't have big claws like a lion. Okay, that's not how, like lions, what they use in their society, the lion pride is claws. That's how they get their way. Okay, you don't have those. You don't have big teeth. You have plant animal teeth, like a horse or something. So you can't use big fangs. So what do you use? What's your tool to get ahead in life? Consciousness. Okay, so what could be more appropriate than for you to have a whole college class where we learn how to use our consciousness as well as we can. Now think about this. If you can do that, if you can use your consciousness better than other people, then you can navigate through reality better than other people. If you can navigate through reality better than other people, then you will do better than them. Okay, so if there's 50 applicants for the job you're trying to get, you'll get it because you know how to navigate through reality better than all these other dopes who didn't take critical thinking. Okay, so it's an extremely important class, and you'll see as we go through the semester that you're thinking, even the C students in here, hopefully there aren't any, hopefully every A student, and you get to keep the GPA going. But even, students that don't get very good grades, still this class deeply affects you because, why? Because, like I said, consciousness is your whole life, your mind, your thoughts and feelings, is all you've ever lived through your whole life, okay? It's all you've ever seen reality through. And your process of consciousness is incredibly sloppy, okay? As some examples we just gave will show, and we've got a zillion more that we're going to go through all semester. And what you're going to do is learn how to make that not sloppy. And what will happen then is you'll lose all your friends. So that's what the deal is. That's why this class is so important. So here's the syllabus. You may think that you're an eligible citizen, but you're most likely not. I actually put the most likely in last night. It said you are not before that. But I thought that was a little bit, because maybe somebody in here is a sharp thinker. So you will learn that the ways you've been taught to think can typically be shown to be failed ways, and that the information that you have been told is true, usually has not even been verified properly. You've been most likely, here we go, most likely been raised where your mind has been hugely shaped constructed and pieced together by out-of-date and or substandard science. What's that? Einstein. Okay, and then you watch the Discovery Channel. Oh my gosh, he was the only scientist. I was watching Ancient Aliens on the History Channel, and some clown actually said that he thought Einstein was in touch with aliens because he was so incredibly smart. How could he have developed all these theories and so forth? And I couldn't quite believe that he said that, because if you just know a teeny bit about Einstein, you know that what happened to him is that he was, basically what happened was, with his grad school professors and mentors, he just basically took all the information that they had given to him and added a teeny little bit, published it, and now he's famous. So all the work was done for him. So anybody who's saying he got information from aliens is, well, that's the Discovery Channel. Discovery Channel science. So, I mean, but that's what people are, my father watched the show and called me, very interesting, Jeffrey. It's absolutely amazing. And then I'll say, I'll ask him a question, and I'll say, oh, that's wrong. He goes, now he's all mad and wants to hang up on me. So anyway, but that's where people get their information. Another place people get their information is churches that do not question. Okay, we won't attack Christianity in this class, but we may attack churches. Okay, there's a big difference. Okay, there's a difference between the Bible, pretend this is the Bible, and a church. Okay, often they're completely not even in sync. Not always, but sometimes they are. So churches, however, are a major place where people get their information, and it's a very undeveloped sort of information, just like Discovery Channel science is. Oh, here we go, failing and weakening education systems in America. Yeah, that's a big deal. In the ratings or whatever that the United Nations does, I don't know, really what's involved in those, but America is, in elementary education, is fourth from the bottom now of all the 81 countries or whatever that are participating in that rating, and we used to be number 1 in the 50s. So, what does that mean? I don't know what that means. Who's doing the ratings? So that's where people get their information. And here's another place: the feral. This is worded. The feral world of the mass media. You know what feral is?
Wild.
Yeah, like wolf boy. Yeah. No language, running around the wolf. The feral child. Okay. So yeah, the mass media is truly like. How Hollywood portrays the Wild West, which isn't really true, but it's fun, Hollywood movies. The mass media is like a step beyond that, as far as their wildness. It's just, it will tell you one decade, hey, this country's going to bomb you, the Iraqis. And we do, and then they copy and paste another word in it. Instead of Iraq, they change one letter, and they go like this. And they say all the same things, and everybody's ready to do it again. So that's feral. That's the most wild, undisciplined information source there is, as we'll see this semester. Should be a period there. Oops. So these are the domains where most likely most of your information you hold to be true comes from, and thus which inform, and build your mind. But as you'll see, fall semester, the amazing techniques of critical thinking, that your mind has not been, that your mind is built in a shoddy way, you will see, and what you need is critical thinking. Okay? So, I have some, I'll do that there. Wait a minute. Oh yeah, here we go. Okay, so 3 major tools that we'll use in critical thinking. Again, it's still a syllabus, which we'll do the whole, like 16 pages or something ridiculous. The 3 main principles we'll use all semester. I got to give everybody a good sampling of the class though, because it's your money. You might not want to take this class, so got to give you a sample. Here's the 3 tools we'll use all semester to do critical thinking. These will underlie and weave through everything. This is the the foundation of it. Skepticism, evidence, and argument. Okay? Skepticism is one of those things that you've all been told, ooh, the skeptics. Your mom's got her mouth starting to do one of those things or something. No, in this sense, skepticism is great. Okay? Why not be a skeptic? There's skeptics in the Bible. Skeptics in Buddhism. There's skeptics in science. You've been given a mind. What, you're supposed to not question? You've been given this incredible mind that can do all this stuff, but you don't question. That doesn't make any sense. Skepticism, what it does is it tears away. It is just it's a system of questioning in its most simple form. Why is this the case? Why is this the case? I doubt that's true. I doubt. Well, guess what happens? When you do that, all the BS starts to fall away. And the things that are real don't. So you can quickly weed out things that are junk information, and what you'll have left are the things that have a chance for being correct information. So you'll be surprised this semester. I know half of you in this class are thinking, oh yeah, religion, gone. You'll be surprised. You'll be very, very surprised. Really, in this class, science, mainstream science, will be under more of an attack than religion this semester. Things like, I don't know, global warming. We have a warm week. It must be global warming. Or evolution, plate tectonics, Big Bang Theory. All of these. There's a philosopher named David Hume, who is a Scottish philosopher from the 1700s. Have you heard of him? Philosophy student? He's a very, very interesting philosopher. And he'll come into a lot of our critical thinking work, and he is famous for saying, I can't believe how scant was the word that's usually translated as scant. That is called scant is the speed, right? How scant the information is that is usually used to build up a scientific theory. That's David Hume. Okay, well, you will see that loud and clear in this class. Okay, so another thing we use is evidence verification. That is really simple. How many of you think I'm holding a dragon in my hand? Good? Good? We got one person on LSD. Anybody else? Yeah? Two? The evidence would suggest that I'm not holding it unless you're inebriated. How many of you think that I'm holding a piece of chalk? Great. That's evidence. What is it? You can see it. Okay? That's the simplest form of evidence, which will make up the first part of our class. And it's very, very simple. Now, a third thing here is argument. And I think I'm going to do something here that I forgot. Well, what an argument is, while we're waiting for this to all open up and stuff, an argument is sort of the tool that philosophers use. Man, this chocolate's teeny. I've used that one over there, but some people don't want to be. When you have a bit of information that leads to further ideas, more info, that's what in philosophy we call an argument. Okay? So, I'm going to turn it on. Trying to open up anyway, isn't it? This stuff never works right. Oh, here we go. Okay, all you can do so I can. Anybody know how to work that?
Touch it and hold it.
Oh, press and hold. Good idea.
That's just an idea. Really, that's an idea. Maybe hammer it. That'll work.
That's even better idea. Well, I think last month when I did this, I had to wait like 5 minutes for them to come back on. So, what I'm going to do is I'll show you some examples of arguments. This technique can be incredibly powerful, the technique of argument. That's, in fact, what Einstein used, to go back to him for a second, to come up with his first stuff that he published. It wasn't actually scientific. It wasn't stuff you could see. It was mathematical theories and other kinds of theories that he published, in scientific journals. But really, they were arguments. That's how powerful this stuff can be. So, now many of you have done a mathematical equation in your algebra or calculus class, where you'll start off with, x squared plus x equals a equals b or something like that. And then you'll go, and then you'll get down here to saying x equals 9 or something like that. It's the same thing, okay? You start off here. Here's your preliminary information, and here's your where you end up. So you end up, really you haven't gone anywhere because you're just dealing with this information, but then again, on the other hand, you have gone somewhere. You've got new information. So the same thing happens in a mathematical equation. Let's see if this works now, but I'm going to show you from Chuck, well, we won't do math and stuff in this class. Here we go. We will, this is an example, it's an analogy, okay? Don't worry about doing math. Okay, so I'm going to show you some examples of some arguments as soon as this thing gets going here. Okay, so here's an example of an argument. So our information are numbers 1 through 5. And our conclusion, see that therefore? Our conclusion is number 6. Okay, so that's what happens. We have little data points that lead to a conclusion. Very, very simple. The whole semester, the concept of argument will not get more technical than that. Data points leading to a conclusion. Okay, but we'll use this tool every single class. Okay, here's an argument. Rocks from Mars have been found here on Earth. Okay, remember Clinton in the 90s? It'll come back on, I think. So this has been big news and so forth, that this happens. Well, that's strange. Why is a Mars rock found in, the snow in Greenland or Antarctica or something? That implies that Earth rocks go there too, over enough time. I guess the theory is that, something gets smashed into Earth and, like a big comet or something, blast off little pieces of rock and they float around the solar system. Eventually one will run into, Mars or something. Okay, so third point, rocks from Earth almost certainly will have some form of radiation-resistant microbial life on teeny little life forms. There's life everywhere, like the Star Wars universe here on Earth. There's life replete. We're replete with life at every level. So pretty decent theoretical statement. So since there's been so much time, 4.3 billion years is how old the solar system is supposed to be. I know that number is questionable, but let's just go with it for a moment. That's what the experts tell us. So then there's been a lot of time for Earth rocks to travel all over the solar system. Some places in the solar system, such as the Moon, Europa, which is around Saturn, or Jupiter, I forgot which, are perfect places for earthly microbes to flourish. Therefore, life exists all over the solar system, especially in places like Europa. Anybody heard of this theory before? Panspermia? Yeah. So anyway, this is what everybody does. Okay, you do this. Why is, your point number 1 will be, my girlfriend, I think, is cheating on me. I hate my girlfriend. I wish she would move to Guam or something. Therefore, I will dump her. Okay? So there's a little argument you formed in your consciousness on your walk. The problem is that most people do this to an incredibly sloppy degree. Even this argument up here, if we're going to look at it, which we're not going to, is sloppy. Okay? So what you want to do is learn how to formulate good arguments and learn how to analyze other people's conversations, writings, or whatever, and to know if their argumentation is good or bad. Okay? You're going to use skepticism, evidence, and argument, as we have in the syllabus, to do all that. So let me do another argument quick here. This one is Jupiter. Okay. Cool. We got some stuff on Jupiter coming up in the next set of notes, which is here's one. History. Here's point. Okay, look. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 is the therefore. That means we've reached our conclusion. We went from here to here. That's what our argument does. We're going to go from 1 through 3. This is a collection of information. This is a collection. History has cycles of rising and falling. Golden Age, Dark Age, Silver and Bronze Ages in between. Right? That's what we're told. Consciousness is heavily altered by magnetic field variations. Okay? In other words, everybody know what gravity is? Watch. Here's gravity. See? For some reason, the chalk just when I let go, why does it just stay there? Something's pulling it or something to the ground or something. Well, that's a force. Okay, it makes stuff move around. That's what forces the 3 major forces, or sometimes people say 4 major forces of physics do. They move stuff around. Another one is called magnetism. When you have a magnet and you hold the iron next to it, it goes. It causes movement. Okay, so but magnetism, this other force, which is like gravity, influences your consciousness. And this has been verified. I think the first place to do it is UCLA, and then the University of Ottawa, I think it's AWA, Persinger, a really interesting professor up there, who in Canada, who also has verified this. If you put someone in a little cage, called a Faraday cage, and increase the magnetism to their body, you can give them intelligence tests, and they score twice as high as they normally would. And they'll sit there saying, God is everywhere. They're having all these religious experiences. Then if you do the opposite, and you decrease the magnetism down below what the Earth and the solar system gives to a person, they fall into depression, anger, they start feeling, sometimes they get like a 0 on it or something. Not really, but, really bad score compared to what they usually would. So now we've got 2 data points here. History has cycles, and consciousness has cycles. Wonder if there's a correlation. Well, let's go to data point 3. The sun and the Earth and the other, Jupiter, other bodies in the solar system have very strong magnetic fields. Okay, so your brain and consciousness exists in those, but those are also known to rise and fall through time, especially the Earth. Okay, so therefore, look at this conclusion: the cycles of rising and falling through history are caused by the sun's magnetic field oscillation. Okay, or the Earth. I should probably say or the Earth or something. Got me? So if we know that magnetism does this to us, and if we know that solar system bodies have varying magnetism, well, then we might think that all the madness in the Dark Age, for example, could have been caused by decreased magnetism, and all the intelligence in the Golden Age maybe was caused by increase. Now, this is theoretical, but that's what arguments often are. Yeah?
That's a pretty weak argument, correlation.
Yep.
Causation.
Right. Yeah, there could be all kinds of other options. It's just a...
Theory?
Yeah, we don't even know. Okay, let's go. This one here. How do we really know that history's, written this down for us accurately? Maybe what looks like a golden age to us, the Egyptians, really was held as slaves and everything. Who knows? So this is questionable, since we're introducing skepticism to it. Consciousness heavily altered. Well, that you can test. So that's a better. 1 is very weak, but 2 is better. But to tie it in then with number 3. Also, that's questionable. So, good point. Some arguments that we'll cover in this class are incredibly strong. Some are so-so, and some are weak. I personally put this in the so-so range. Not incredibly strong, not weak. Some of you might put it in the weak. Some of you put it in the strong. So, that's up to you. But that's how this class will go. We'll analyze stuff like that. So, let me, we have another one here. Oh, yeah, that's a good one. Okay. In Germany, anybody heard of Armin Maiweiss or whatever? Okay, in Germany, a man volunteered to be eaten by another man. That's his name. The eater is this guy. Okay, this is a true story. This happened in 2001 or something. This event occurred, and the man chose to be killed. The victim was all excited. Yeah, I'm going to get eaten. It's going to be awesome. He was going to die anyway, so he thought it would be a good way to go. So since the eaten chose, the eater had no will in the decision for the eaten to get killed and eaten. Okay, so therefore, the eater is not guilty of a crime. What do you think about that? Now, some of you might also say, well, there's not enough information now. What does will mean?
Different state songs that we use. What constitutes it?
I don't know. Those are questions I want to know.
Yeah, I want to know how we could...
Did you finish up with a hot fudge sundae or something? Who knows? So this would be a very, very philosophical, where the first 2 arguments are tending towards scientific and philosophical together. This one would be completely philosophical. Depending on how you'd have to really dive into this to see, to see if this is a good argument or not, which we'll discuss what a good argument and a bad argument means all semester. So these 3 points here form our initial information, our data points that we put together, which all lead to some kind of conclusion, which is, at the moment, is this. After further analysis, that may change. Your conclusion may change. But that's how argument works. Info leading to more info. Okay, anybody have any questions? Okay, good. So, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so that's what this class is based on. This class is very, very all over the place. Okay? All we have to learn this semester are the techniques of critical thinking. And when doing that, we study all kinds of other topics at the same time. Science, philosophy, social issues, anthropology. Anybody anthropology student? No? That was my undergrad major. You already closed up though. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about, here's the book, Office Hours. This is where I sit in my office and nobody comes and I just read or sleep or something else. It's on Mondays after class for an hour and a half, 2:45 to 4:15. And here's our schedule. Just double click through. move, and it's not. Okay, so we're starting off here the first week. That's what we're doing now, chit-chatting. And Wednesday we'll be starting this. That's on C-Tools, okay? There's no reading that correlates to this information. There's only a handout. Now, what you have, it's about 15 pages, the handout. And I think the first 8 or so are on C-Tools right now, so you'll have to go there to get it. And you will need to get it. You'll see why in a few minutes. And I'll have the whole thing. I'm still kind of editing through it and so forth. I'll have the whole thing up probably in a couple days or something. And then we just go through. Basically, this class is just about 5 topics that we cover. We're going to do argument, and that's going to be real quick there to kind of sum it up. Then we cover fallacies. That'll last about a month, maybe longer. Then we'll do the psychology of fallacies. We'll study Karl Popper. He's a famous philosopher. We'll study induction. Maybe doing stats or science or psychology or physics or anything. That'll be very relevant to what you're doing. Certainty, doubt, and expert opinion. This is all good stuff, all of it. I'll be like, oh yeah, great, my nap time. But no, this class is pretty cutting edge, in my opinion. So here's your life for the next 4 months. Midterm, final quiz and homework. Okay, so the midterm is on the, I think it's week 7 or something. Take home, it's going to be. Okay, see how it says here on week 7, I used to do it the week before spring break, and that wasn't real popular. So, but I wanted to make it, we do, 10 days after spring break is done, too, so that people still were bitter. So I hand out the midterm when you get back from break. I say, welcome back. And then you get to turn it in a week later. It's mostly, it's about 40% essay, 60% problems, and all the problems that you've already done on homework, already done in quizzes, and already done a zillion examples in class, so it won't be anything new. And they're pretty straightforward. I think they are. Students sometimes say they fret over them, but in the end, everybody gets their A or B, so, or most people, unless they were not here or sleeping or something through class, which, I can understand. We're all human. Okay. Then the final will be the same deal, and you'll have an opportunity, as you'll see in a minute here, when we go down the syllabus, to not do the whole final, to do about half of it, okay? Because if you have perfect attendance, some people in here didn't know about that. We'll do that in a second. Now, quizzes, you'll have a quiz every single day, okay, at the start of class. That starts a week from today, and they're really easy, okay? Well, at least they should be. If you don't study, then they seem really hard. You come to me and say, it's so hard. But if you study for about 9 minutes or something, then they're really easy, okay? It's just a way for, all the quizzes are over, as you'll see here in the syllabus in a second, is they're over the way this class works is we've got assigned reading and then lecture notes that I go through, okay? I'm not going to be sitting here writing and saying, point 1 is, like that or something. I used to do that, and then I said, it's too slow. And I always got the person back saying, I'm not done yet. And then they're all like, oh, my God, I'm going to finish writing everything down. So what I do is now I just have the homework, all the notes ready to go, and I have them for you, too, so that we can go, at a reasonable pace, so people don't sleep and everything, or most people don't. But the quiz is only over one thing. The previous class's lecture notes that we went over. Not over the reading of the book. I mean, it'll be in there because we're going through the book. But specifically, what you should be looking at is, say we start off in this, we're going to go through this handout here, starting next class. This one right here. Okay, so say we get to page 6 next week, which is likely we'll get like 6 or 8. Then you'll know that the following Monday, your first quiz will be over that handout, pages 1 through 6, something in there. Okay, it'll be a real broad, simple question, not like, what was the favorite animal of David Hume, the philosopher, or something like that. It won't be, it'll be actually good information, something useful. So, the quizzes, I've got 3 people in here that took me before and we did this, so it must not be that bad. Sometimes students, it's easy. Okay? Don't worry about it. Okay? If you're worried about it, get the hell out. I'm just kidding. There's a big waiting list, so if you don't like it, maybe you can let the other things. But it's not meant to be, oh, I'm going to get those students, get them all C's. No, it's just meant to keep everybody, you know, if we go through everything in class, and then I can get you to all go through it all again the second time, that second time makes the information stick pretty well. That's the reason for doing it. Because then I can refer to something in that we covered in week 2 when we get to week 9 and say, oh yeah, remember we covered this, and I'll be like, oh yeah, because we went over in class and in the notes later for the quiz. That's what we will say. So you'll learn everything better that way. That'll start a week from today. Okay, not Wednesday. Somebody else will say, what's the quiz over? On Wednesday, I guarantee you. But they start a week from today. And so everybody understands that it's only over the lecture notes that we go over in class from the previous day. Everybody got that, okay? So a week from Wednesday, our second quiz will be over, not what we went over in 2 days, but what we went over on Monday of next week in the lecture, in the notes. Okay, it won't be over what I said. It won't be over what's in the book. It'll be over what's written in text in the lecture notes that you see up here on the screen, and which all of you have on C-Tools. C-Tools is slow, isn't it? People compare it to Facebook and like, no, not quite. Facebook has more spine and it's faster. That's what the spine says. Nobody's laughing, which I can understand. Spine, it was like government spine and stuff. I
meant like spine, like area spine.
Oh, like Russian?
Backbone.
No, spine. I was calling E-Trade, my wife's stock account the other day. They're like, we respect your privacy. I'm like, give me a break more. And these guys are Social Security and the account number. Everybody's listening. The whole government's listening to the phone. So there's a lot of privacy here. So anyway, the universities do it right. They have like one number for you, and like it replaces everything else. So that's a better idea. So anyways, what's this? Oh yeah, so that's what he just explained. That's about the quizzes. Oh yeah. So there'll always be like 1 to 3 quizzes or questions on the quiz. Sometimes it just depends how. If I'm like, I want to make an quiz, it'll be 1. But if I'm like, yeah, then I'll make 3 or something, 3 questions. So very straightforward and simple. They make you keep up. Okay, here's how we grade them. This is really either really good for you or really bad for you. Okay, this is how you can turn a C grade into an A. All right. The quizzes are given 2 grades, C or NC, credit or no credit. Okay, so that means if you just barely make it, and I give you a credit, it means you get full credit, all the points. You either get all the points or none. Okay. So you want to, spend that 9 minutes of time studying for the quiz. Because if you don't, then you get all the quiz. There'll probably be like 23 quizzes or something. So they'll end up being about 9 points each, or about 7 points each. So you want to get those 7 points. If you get, say you get 5, say you miss 2 classes, so you miss 2 quizzes. There's no makeup quizzes, and then you get 4 no credits. So there's 6 quizzes. That's 42 points. You already are only can get 95, 96% in the class. Okay, so it's so you've got a teeny little wiggle room, for an A, because you've taken all your you want your points to come off on the test. Not on these quizzes are supposed to be just like a gift. Like here's free points. You have to with your eyes closed study while you're hopping up and down on one foot because it's so easy. So that's why you want to do it. So a C grade credit is like an A, and an NC is not. Okay, 0 points. All right. So yes, it's worse than an F here. Okay, F is like 60%. Well, NC is 0%. It's kind of cool. One class in the whole university has 0% grade. So most students do very well, but they will add up. Trust me. When if you start seeing NCs, I got one last week. Ooh, I think I got another one for this quiz. If they add up, it'll take your grade down. You don't want that to happen. It's supposed to be easy. So I'll drop the lowest quiz. Everybody's always got a time this semester where they, crashed their car or something, and you couldn't make it. And so then that's where we drop one. Okay? So here's how your quizzes are graded. 250 points as what they're worth. Number of quizzes minus the one we dropped. That equals the total points for each quiz. I think it's like 7.2 or something will come out to. And then the other semester, we take, you know, say this is the total number is Q. That total number for each quiz times the number of C grades you have will be your quiz total, which you want to be, it comes up to like 251, okay? So that's what you want to be you, all right? Any questions?
We need Scantron. Oh, wait, no, there's nothing.
Oh, no. That's a little bubble.
Yeah.
They don't do that in here. This is like old-fashioned class, the broken sock, spit, you know, stuff like that. There's no, what are those things called? Microsoft presentation, what are they? PowerPoint? Yeah, no PowerPoint in here. So, does anybody have any questions over this? Okay, oh yeah, homework, that's a lesser component. Okay, so, have a nice life for 2 days. I'll see you on Wednesday. We'll start that handout, which is on C4.